Join us for another episode of the Ohio Eternal podcast with Tony getting swole. That is not distracting at all.
I'm done clicking. I'm done clicking.
Yeah, turn down your. Let's mute that boy for.
We'll let you know if we need you. You just stand there and you look pretty, okay? That'll be the goal for today's episode.
Hey, bro, when you got kids, you got to get it when you can get it.
Hey, I hear you. I totally hear you. So it's been a minute since we had a little fireside chat, lots of life changes. So let's just go around real quick, just kind of catch up what's going on. I'll kick us off. I have been traveling a little bit. I went to MagicCon and then the had drill. It's been a crazy couple weeks, so I'm glad that we could carve out some time today to get together. And I do want to talk a little bit about MagicCon, but that's a little bit later in the episode. But really, like Tony said, just living life with kids and all that fun stuff. And it's funny, I was talking to somebody at a store, and they're like, "Man, I really love the legacy community." I was like, "Why?" And they're like, "Because it's just like, I like to call it dad magic. Like, it's just a bunch of old dudes and like just come and play and sling old spells and broken shit. And you guys like to spend money." I was like, "Yeah, check, and check." So
All the above.
Yeah. So Ben, what's going on? You had a little bit of a change recently.
Me? Oh,
He's like, "What?"
Beck?
No, with work.
Oh yeah, started a new job. That's been busy. It's been cool. Very busy even. I like it. Obviously, I like the job. Same position, still a finance manager at a car dealership. I'm just at a Hyundai store now. Just higher volume, super busy all the time. I'm coming from a store that I was the only one there, and we did maybe 55 cars a month, pretty average. And I'm at a store where this month's goal is 400, and there's 5 of us. So instead of it just being me, I've got like a legit team of people that I work with that work with me and help, which is cool. Um, but it's been gangster. I like it a lot.
Nice. Well, congratulations on the gig. Like you said, I believe a little bit closer to home and just growing, which is cool.
Yeah, oh yeah. I went from an hour commute to a 25-minute commute, and I doubled my income. Let's go, boys.
Heck yeah. Which
That's,
will
you know how
play
much
into.
cardboard that means?
I was gonna say that's gonna go into our latter topic of starting to play some vintage, and you can get sweet new shit. I know you're trying to get the shirt on camera, so I mean we'll just call it out now. That beautiful
Oh,
specimen.
what, this old thing?
Oh, that. Oh, hello. Oh, thank you for
Hey, we're
noticing.
playing. Dude, this shirt is insane, and I love it.
Big ol' hell yeah. So Tony, updating us from you're like our live correspondent in the field,
Right.
over at the gym. So any big changes in life? Any updates? You've been playing a lot of different decks lately, which we're going to talk about. But any other big things happening?
No, not really. Pretty much same old.
Doing that dad magic life.
Yeah, dad magic, fire station, same.
Just casually saving lives, no big deal.
That's why we gotta stay fit, bro.
That's right. So before you get too out of breath, I do want to just call attention to some of the work that you've been doing over on our Patreon. So tell us a little bit about that.
We put out a couple of deck guides, sideboard mapping, general heuristics, for what? Breakfast lands, ninjas. You did mono red.
Mm-hmm.
I know Ben's a big storm guy, and that's pretty much like the Brian Cook thing. But we've just been trying to like push a lot of other archetypes and kind of just get a really deep dive into breakfast lands, ninjas, and then I'm also in the process of doing an entire metagame analysis. So the legacy data collection project from Joe Dyer, or Volrath. He collects all the data for like the challenges, which is really good. But like, I took a lot of that information and broke down the general win rates for a lot of the archetypes over a course of time. And then what I did was took that information and looked at trends for like the past couple of weeks. Like, just because everybody's playing blue black, right? Doesn't mean that, like, you know, it has like above high win rate, right? So I mean, my thought is, if you look at like the past couple of weeks, breakfast has had a okay like percentage like of people playing it, but its win rate has been below average, which I don't think is representative of like how powerful the deck is. So it's just like, it's entering, breaking down all that information, and then like doing a general write-up of like what I think is like well positioned, what I think is not well positioned, based upon those win rates, and then also like what's trending up, trending down, stuff like that, in prep for the next couple of big events coming.
Right, and we do have dates as well for a couple of the events coming up in Ohio. I know, shout out to all the new folks over on the Discord. We've added like 10 or 15 people since the last episode that we recorded. So, you know, again, big shout out to them. But we do have some dates for the next Buffalo Chicken. There is there, I'm not gonna be able to be there, obviously. I have drill that weekend, so I unfortunately can't be there. I'm trying to move some stuff around, but the Buffalo Chicken Dip in Ohio is April 26th, and that's BCDL. So Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy, and that's April 26th. And then they're having the open for a Mox Jet, which is August 3rd. Okay, so definitely keep your eye on that. Ben, I think that you're planning to go to those as well, right?
I'm gonna try. No. I'm planning on going to both. I know I'm gonna be at least going to the open, but I'm gonna have to request time off from the new job, and I don't know how easy that is or painstaking. You know what I mean?
Sure.
From the sounds of it, it sounds like this company is really cool with time off. That being said, I just haven't done it yet, or see that ask. One of them being like a month and a half away, I might not have enough time to request off. I don't know if they require like 2 months or what the circumstance is.
Sure.
But we'll find out.
But for that Mox Life, though, that'd be pretty sweet.
For the Mox Life, I honestly, I don't even really care about winning the cards. I care about the little miniature chicken trophy. I want a little fucking golden chicken, dude. I will play in as many Buffalo Chicken Dip events as I need to get a golden chicken, and I might play the other ones. Who knows? Realistically, after I get the little trophy, I may retire from playing the Buffalo Chicken Dip events.
And then you'll just be a commentator like they do on ESPN after they get the ring.
I once was at the top. Now I'm just here.
You should be like LeBron.
Exactly.
And just stay in the game until you're 95.
Right.
Okay, so just recapping on that, if you want to check out those sideboard guys, they are available on our Patreon. If you just go to our website, Ohio Eternal or eternal.rocks, there's links for all that on there. Or if there's one that you'd like to see, let us know, because what we're doing is kind of going through and building guides for a certain number of decks that we can start seeding out to local stores. So that way, if you bring a friend, like a new player or whatnot, they'll at least have a guide to kind of get started. So again, thank you,
I gotta
Tony,
do one for control too.
that.
I
Heck
gotta
yeah.
do one for control. I've been putting it off with new job and stuff, but I can't really publish the one that I use for Storm because if you want that, you have to subscribe to the Bryant Cooks at the Epic Storm Patreon. He put way too much time and effort and money into it, so
yeah.
But I will work on something for y'all because I've been playing Control a lot lately to branch out, because it seems like every time I sit down at a local event, they go, "Oh, it's the Storm player." So I've been trying to play some other stuff so that when I'm not at a big event, if you sit down across from me, I'm playing Storm.
Right.
It's just what I'm the most comfortable with, and I think actually the better player with. That being said, local stuff, I'm going to be trying a bunch of different stuff and only pulling out Storm when I'm really like in the mood or have an itch. But right now I'm playing a lot of Control, which I'm enjoying and actually not doing terrible with.
Good. Really
enough.
Yeah, and I'll get the template set over to you as well, so that way we can get her filled out.
I will say that, like, with the guides, like, especially like in the breakfast community, there was a lot of outdated sideboard guides. And then there's also just like, like mulligan decisions, like general play patterns, like, like non-intuitive things, I guess, that people like wouldn't really get. And like, even though like, the Epic Storm, like Ben said, is kind of a cornered market in a sense. A lot of these other archetypes, even though people play them a lot, like they don't have a lot of that targeted content, like the constant monthly updates that Brian does, and like all the like research and information that he puts in. So we're just trying to like get that feel out for like a lot of archetypes, right?
Yeah, 100%. So moving on, MagicCon. So I was fortunate enough to go to MagicCon, which is pretty awesome. It's my yearly birthday trip with my two friends from high school. It was awesome. So I played in the Legacy Cup, did not do well. That being said, I was like brokering a deal for Power at the same time. So like we were getting like super close to a piece, and then like I'd have to go play around, and like while I was playing my round, all I cared about was the Power that I was buying, because my goal was to get one piece while I was at MagicCon. So I was going for the Mox Pearl, just trading, super casual, whatever. And then as I got to talking to my friends over at Strike Zone, shout out to the team over there. I've always worked with them. They've always done really well by me. We ended up getting, with trade-ins and a little bit of cash, my Mox Jet, my Mox Emerald, my Mox Pearl, and my Lotus. So I got all four of those pieces with just $2,000 out of pocket. And then
That's all?
and then went and talked to my friends over at Card Monster, and I just did some raw trades for my Sapphire. So we're doing some gaming. As of today, I have the entire Mono White Initiative together. It's sitting right next to me, ready to play. So I'm now up to two full vintage decks. So I have my Bazaars, so I can play Dredge or Vines, and then Mono White Initiative. But the nice thing about those purchases are the fact that they can I can now play pretty much any vintage deck. So I'm pretty excited for that. As far as Legacy, I saw and overheard some people talking about, because this was technically the Aether Drift MagicCon. So as far as Legacy is concerned in vintage, the only card that, people were really even talking about were the Chandra for Mono Red and the card Stock Up. So 3 mana, look at the top 5, put 2 in your hand, 3 on the bottom of the deck. That's starting to see some play in Legacy as well as Vintage. And so while I was there, I was trying to stock up on as many of those as possible. But it's like the cost of that card, it's an uncommon, and it's up over, I think, $5 now, $4 or $5. So as far as any updates or anything like that, as far as what I saw, that was probably the only thing from Aether Drift that was really good. It was cool to be at the event too. So as far as MagicCon's not like Eternal Weekend or SCG cons. It's one of the few events that are actually put on by Hasbro, and all of the creators are there. So like you're walking around and you'll see the people from Command Zone or Commander at Home or whatever that is called. You'll see all of the people that live stream, and you can play games with them. So again, it's a really cool community event, where Eternal Weekend, like, you see a little bit of that, but those people are just like in grind mode, right? Because they're there to play Legacy, they're there to be in the big events, where at this event they're a lot more chill. Like, they'll actually talk to you, they're a lot less stressed. I recommend it to anybody that can go. It's just an overall a really cool event, and you see a lot of unique cards, right? So again, you could pick up Power if you want, or just some Commander cards. All the vendors are there, all the artists are there. It's just a really cool community event. So it's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Love that. But am I the only one that can't see you? Can the rest
Yeah,
of the
my
see you?
I had to use a different camera, so it's being weird. So I'm gonna pass it off and talk about just some other formats that we've been playing lately. Because Tony kind of got me hooked on Commander, which again I was pretty far away from Commander, but he got me brought back into it. Tony, you're in a league right now, right?
I am. It is super sweet.
So tell us about that league. So what exactly do you do?
So it's a lot of the Buffalo Chicken Dip guys. They got me into it. Basically, it is you buy a pre-con, and then you play in your first pod, depending on the result, like 1 through 4. You either get like $15, $9, and whatever. Like, it's like scaled down. So like if you lose, you get the most money. If you win, you get the least money, but the most match points. So, and then you play every week, and you can use that money to buy and upgrade your pre-con. So, you're not putting like mana vaults and like stuff like that in your deck, but you're like, all right, what can I spend $9 on? And a lot of these cards are, 20 cents, 50 cents, whatever. So you can, throw 10 or 12 cards in your deck. That's not a big deal. And it's pretty good for like, fair level play. But like, as the weeks progress, your decks start to get more powerful, right? But it's really good. It's interactive. It's not just like Force of Wills flying around and stuff, and like, Ristic studies, like none of that exists, right? Or you're spending like your entire like 3 or 4 week allowance for one card that you might never see.
Right.
So it behooves you to like, get these 20, 40. Yeah, that's the word of the day. But it gives you like the availability to find these like niche cards that you wouldn't ever play anywhere else. But you're like, oh, hey, like, do I really want to spend $2 or $3 on this card when I've only got like 9 in my bank, right? Where like the one week I spent like $20 or something because I had like saved up money, and I put like 35 cards in my deck. So it was pretty sweet. But yeah, it's been good. I mean, relatively balanced. Everybody's playing something different because you go through like a draft lottery to pick your pre-con, so nobody's playing the same deck. So I mean, it's been fun.
Yeah. So I started at MagicCon. We actually started the same, similar thing. So it's just me and a couple buddies, and I'm doing the Riders of Rohan, so in true Boros, actually it's Jeskai, but true Boros fashion, a lot of humans, a lot of fun stuff like that, some stacks pieces. And yeah, it's been really fun to play that. Also recently been dabbling in some of the CDH and following that meta a little bit more. Local events, you know, there's CDH events that are firing at 2 of the stores near me. So again, just a chance to play that. I don't love the whole 4-player thing or politics, but it's something that I'm going to try, right, and see how well we do. But I'm putting Jetmir together for my CDH deck, so that should be here in about a week or so. So
I'm
again,
super
just
stoked that you're getting into Commander.
getting back into Commander. To make it clear, I have, I think, 65 Commander decks. So like, I it's not that I don't or I wasn't. I just kind of didn't focus on it for a while.
Yeah, but you were like very CEDH-y, right?
Oh no, casual. I mean, I guess casual to high powered.
Did you okay of those decks, how many of them did you curate? Is I think
All the ones that I curated, I still have my deck list for, but sold everything when I started playing Legacy.
Because like for me, I think like anytime someone hands me a deck and says play this, I go, this is fucking whack. Mainly because when I put together a deck, I do something like that's stupid or like a really convoluted combo that just sometimes wins, or like a lot of interaction, like for example, there's in Fatties, which is Helga, my frog bitch, the one that is a mana dork that draws you a card every time you cast a creature with converted mana cost 4 or greater and gains you a life. I know that was a lot of words really fast, but there's a Legolas's quick reflexes in there, which is like one of the best cards, because if you're playing something that can untap Helga, like for example, retreat to Coral Helm, the amount of mana that you can get, and you can board wipe with Helga, so you're like, I'm gonna ping off all of your creatures and get a shitload of mana and do a lot of really cool shit and draw a lot of cards, is insane. But like, if I'm given somebody else's deck, then I don't know the cool outs and the cool things that you can do. So like, I like to go in the think tank and brew a deck and slap it together, which is, I think, the fun Commander decks. Anything that you're doing like CEDH that someone just gives you a deck, I feel like isn't as enjoyable, and that's subjective, you know, obviously.
Yeah. And so I guess the ones that I curated were my squirrels. I always, Chatterfang was one of the first ones that I built on my own. And then I did one called Deathbird. So it's Jeskai. So it has Jeska Thrice Reborn, as well as the bird that gets counters whenever somebody...
Echelon?
Yeah. Whenever somebody gets... or casts a spell. So again, I most of the stuff that I had, I kind of sold because I kind of and I did a really cool soldiers deck too with Muriel or Myrel. So yeah, I mean, so I did build all like those ones just to kind of get an idea and kind of go from there. But yeah, and I have a lot of them in my MTG Goldfish that I want to build at some point. I have one called Bob Saga, and it's all about like, yeah. So it's all about like sagas and stuff and Atraxa.
Is that the graveyard one, Baba Lasagna?
No, this is Bob Saget, as far as a whole bunch of enchantments and counters and craziness with Atraxa.
I have something cool and sad to admit that I just did. So I needed cards for Storm, and I just ordered them off Haruruya. But the thing that's cool and also sad is I just placed a $60 order that I paid for entirely with points earned from spending money on their website. So I just ordered a playset of Leyline of the Void and a Reverent Silence, which is sick. That I'm going to be registering that card in Legacy, but
Is that a new one? Like new, like
no.
add to that?
Yeah, it's a Nemesis card, but it says if you
Green, bro.
control if you control a forest,
Right.
you can have each opponent gain 6 life, destroy all enchantments.
Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah, and I don't have to pay the mana cost. I could also just pay the mana cost, but
Yeah, because it's only 4, right?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's
But the thought process behind it is, if you have to, there's no way for me to beat 2 Deafening Silence.
yeah.
That is my answer to double Deafening Silence, or if you have like Deafening Silence, Leyline of the Void, it gets rid of both of those things so I can echo and win.
Nice. I love that for you.
Speaking of leagues and legacy, the Buffalo Chicken Dip guys from Dudes Weekend in January,
Mhm.
we weren't able to play the legacy event there. So there's like 10 of us, I think, and we're doing, because we have like the medal. So we're doing a webcam legacy league.
Nice.
And the round 1 pairings just came out. So I'll let you know how that ends up.
Dude, next time you have a webcam league, let me know. I have a PC now, and I happen to have a webcam, because that's kind of fucking insane.
Well, I was going to talk about that. Like, I've been playing, I got my spell table set up again. And I'm building I'm having the students I work at the career center. So I'm having them build like a frame for me. So I'm definitely up for some paper webcam legacy.
Have them build 2.
Oh, heck, I can have them build 3, maybe 4.
I love that.
I like that.
God, I love that you have students that you can put to work for free, and it's not against any kind of labor laws.
Really comes in clutch.
Right.
Today they were some of my students went through about 8,000 cards and pulled all the rares for me.
Oh, sick.
That's awesome.
So sick.
All
Actually,
right, so
I'm
moving
sending a text
on
right now,
from
just-
there. So playing some vintage. I talked a little bit about it. What are your guys' thoughts as far as playing some vintage at Eternal Weekend? Are you guys in?
I should have Doomsday done by then.
So you're gonna play some Doomsday. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think Tony, you talked about doing Dredge, right?
Yeah. I'm just gonna try to do the super unfair thing, which in vintage is,
All
kind
of
of
it.
broad, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping with my first check I'll be able to buy 3 more FBB Underground Seas and have my full play set and pick up a Jet and a Pearl.
And
Yeah,
I was gonna say, because you don't need a ton, right? What do you need for that, power wise?
5 pieces.
So it plays obviously Ancestral Recall. I think it plays a Twister, but
No, I think it just plays walk.
yeah, that makes sense. So you look at walk, because that makes sense, because you don't want to refill their hand with Force of Wills after getting rid of the ones that they had. So you probably end up playing just the Time Walk, just the Ancestral Recall,
The on-color
2
mox,
Mox,
and then Lotus.
Time Walk.
obviously. Yeah.
Yep. And Gush. Gush is in the deck.
Dude, honestly, I might go all out on vintage and just get it all foil.
Hell
Because that deck foil would look obviously disgusting.
Oh, it does use a Lotus.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to be able to cast Doomsday turn 1 off of Lotus and have a shitload of mana. Why not?
Well, and your pile too. Like you could have like 1 land, and your pile can be like consider like Cycler, Lotus, Oracle.
It's going to take a shitload of reps because this is a bunch of cards that I'm not familiar with already.
Gush, one of the best cards in the deck.
Well, there's a whole book about Gush, so.
What?
It's so good, dude.
I think there's a book about how to play Gush. Gush MTG book. A 400-page book written about the MTG card Gush, understanding Gush strategy and
yeah.
tactics.
Oh my gosh. It's literally a book by Stephen Menendian. Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. I
Yeah,
would.
tell me I'm a
Dude, Gush
dinosaur
is
without
one
being
of
a
the best.
dinosaur. I know it.
Isn't Gush reserved in Vintage or
Oh
restricted?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you can't play 4.
yeah, makes sense. Cards.
This
Insane.
$1 card. You may return 2 islands you control to their owner's hands rather than play the mana cost. Draw 2 cards.
You know where you can play 4 though? Pre-modern.
Hmm.
That's true.
Play it and grow a Tog.
Honestly, that's a actual talking point in getting me into playing pre-modern because like I do be fucking with Gush.
And you get dig through time, treasure cruise, so much. Draw.
Yeah, with pre-modern, I mean, technically I have grow a Tog. But I don't have some of the versions of the cards that I would like.
Yeah.
But if you're like, we're playing pre-modern tomorrow, like I have the deck.
I have goblins together, I think. Pre-modern
Yeah.
goblins. Yeah, this is wild with the this whole Gush thing. I'm gonna have to like thumb through this. I can't guarantee I'm gonna read all 350 pages,
You should.
but
It'll make you a better Magic player.
maybe.
Yep.
Gush is. You know how I go on tangents about Brainstorm? Like being the hardest card to play correctly.
Mm-hmm.
There's legit a lot of things that you can do with Gush that you just wouldn't think of because like the first time I saw somebody tap their mana and then cast Gush for free, I was like, oh yeah, that is something that you can just do. Like you can have mana floating and then cast Gush, which I mean was obviously early days of Magic because now that's just something that's common sense. Like you can float mana and then use your like days, for example.
Right.
But
Well, the
like
thing with like
when you're doing Gush stuff, like if you're putting Gush in your pile, you probably just win because like you float a mana, you return 2 islands, you have 2 mana floating. You can play one of your lands for turn, obviously, and then you've got 2 extra hand cards that you dug into your pile for, which is just filthy.
Right.
I can't wait to cast Gush into a Brainstorm pile or into a Doomsday pile.
They also have a book called Eldrazi Meditations. In Eldrazi, we touch. We
That-
trust.
Oh, I thought you said we touch, and I was like,
I
"Damn,
did.
That sounds like
yeah,
a
we
fucking-
do.
myself.
Yeah, that book sounds perverted. Damn perverts wrote that.
No longer a format dominated by Time Vault and Yogg's will, Vintage has been transformed by the printing of creatures like Monastery Mentor, Thought Not Seer, into one dominated by the combat step. The Eldrazi are here.
I still have fucking 6,000 points that I can cash out. Let's order a place out of Doomsday, eh?
Eh? I love
Okay,
that.
let's see what I need to play Legacy Doomsday because maybe I'll play that at a
Ooh.
local. The annoying part about Doomsdays is I can't find Japanese Weatherlight Doomsdays to save my life, so I have to do the Junji Itos, which they look sick. So I'm not complaining too much, but at the same time, Chaboy would really kill for a place at a Weatherlight Japanese Doomsdays.
I think I'm legit gonna buy this book for $30.
100%, dude. Worth it.
I'm going to do that right now. So as we go shopping with Ben, I did want to close out and talk a little bit about the next episode. So in the next episode, we're going to be updating you a little bit about preparing for our next event, which by that time, I'm trying to think, it'll be, I want to say the 2K, right?
Yep.
coming up right around the corner. Preparing for that a little bit, kind of where our thoughts are, any changes, because we do have some sets that are coming out soon. So it's I don't know that we've seen any of the. Have you guys seen any of the cards that have been coming out for Tarkir yet? To know if there's going to be any updates or changes.
I have not.
I haven't seen any of the spoilers. Wow. Narset Jeskai Waymaster. It's in Jeskai. At the beginning of your end step, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw cards equal to the number of spells you've cast this turn.
Yeah, that card seemed insane at spoilers.
Yeah.
Isn't it a 3-drop?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It seems like anytime you have a CMC 3 or less card with way too many fucking words on it, it's always going to be a problem.
Right.
And that's just across the board, and they just don't learn from that. They're just like, fuck it, we'll take a risk.
And the thing is, I mean, I feel like this whole set has been just overshadowed by Final Fantasy, but I'm kind of excited about this set. I mean, it's just a little bit more of a classic Magic. It's not racing bikes with Aether Drift or superheroes. And again, nothing against them. But
I have a lot against them. Fuck those sets.
This is more like just regular old Magic, man.
Right.
Well, awesome. We can't wait till the next episode. And as always, you can keep track of us over on our socials. Just do a Google search for Ohio Eternal. You can also go to our website, ohioeternal.com, or just eternal.rocks. Thank you guys for joining us, and have a good night.
Miss you already. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I stopped that one. Dude, this camera. Dude.
Yeah, like your picture went